What does manhood mean to you?
Manhood means creating a safe space for the people who love you, for the people who depend on you, for the people who turn to you. Manhood means being a a useful resource for those people who walk their lives with you, whether it's someone that you love or loves you, or that person that you meet on the street.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of King Crush Thursday, the series where we highlight and uplift Black men, because frankly, not too many people are doing it. My name is Val Gay, and I am super excited about this brother today. He is the founder of the Harlem Book Fair, the nation's longest running African American book festival. He's also the publisher of QBR books. He's a dad, and I'm going to leave it to you to look at his bio to see his reasons why he knows that God exists. He knows that God exists. So please welcome Mr. Max Rodriguez. Hey, Max.
Hey Val, how are you, sis? I'm glad to see you again. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. I'm so glad to see you again, too. Thank you so much for being here. And so, Max, we are through these conversations and through our specific conversation are looking to chip away at the very myopic and narrowly defined narrative around Black manhood. We see in the media often just a very narrow depiction of Black manhood. And while I won't say it's incorrect, it's just incomplete. And so one brother poetically said, we see 95% of the men that I know are not like these folks. And the sad part is that the 5% that is left are the ones that get 95% of the media. And so we want to make sure that we change those numbers. And so we are doing it through a repository of 6 questions. And we have over 100 answers by 100 different amazing Black men, with the goal of one day having a young king who may or may not have positive Black male role models, for him to be able to come in, see these same 6 questions and answer by all these different men and perhaps find guidance there. And then for the rest of us who are neither male or even Black, for us to be able to take a peek into this repository and into the psyche of this vast array of men through these answers, and hopefully start to change the narrative and widen the narrative around your humanity. And so with that, I'm so glad that you're here to participate. And we're going to get started with the first question, which is, what does manhood mean to you?
Boy, what does manhood mean to me? Let's see. I've thought about these questions, and now that you asked it, I'm like, I've never heard this question before. Yeah. Manhood means creating a safe space for the people who love you, for the people who depend on you, for the people who turn to you. Manhood means being a useful resource for those people who walk their lives with you, whether it's someone that you love or loves you, or that person that you meet on the street. They all cross our paths, and the opportunity to create a safe space, however that may look in that instance, in that exchange, is one way that I sort of measure uh, the space of manhood.
Mm, that is beautiful. That's beautiful, Max. Thank you. Thank you. So, Max, who and or what is important to you?
Who?
And or what is important to you?
Who and or what? Well, my family is important to me. My community is important to me. Um, God is important to me. Um, that we see each other outside of what is projected to us or about us is important to me. That we see through the noise and that we not fall victim to the noise is important to me. And it's why I work on the book fair every year, so that we can have a place where we can share our vision of ourselves through our eyes and through our projected lives. So those things are important to me. Good books are important to me. Art is important to me. Good food is important to me. These things, life is important to me. Life, I think, is a gift. It's a moment to not only to be aware, to be awake, but also to serve as a conduit for God's intention for itself. And we get to play how well we can sort of stand in the space of serving as a conduit of God's intention for itself in the world. So, these are the things that I love.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. So, Max, how do you want us to see you?
Someone who loves love, someone who chooses not to be afraid, even in the space of fear, even in the face of feeling uncertain, but choosing not the story that sort of ensues from the what if, that for me always lands in a fearful place. What happens if, what is the missing? What will, not that conversation. So I guess, so I keep asking you what's the question, because these questions really go to the core of oneself, right? Of one's being. You don't think about them all the time, so let me have that question again.
Sure. So, Max, how do you want us to see you?
Yeah. As someone who knows you, someone who lives the same life that you live, someone who believes in life, someone who believes in brotherhood, sisterhood, and oneness, who understands the idea of we are one breath, and someone who will act from that space.
That is beautiful. That's beautiful. I'm glad you asked me to ask you that again. That's awesome.
Well, I'm glad I did too, because I was already gone.
That's great. That's great. So, Max, what is your epic dream?
Oh boy, Valerie, did you send me these questions?
Yes.
I
yes.
know they sound like new questions. What is my epic dream? Oh, that's a tough. I have dreams for other people. There are things that I'd like to see happen in my epic dream that humanity sees itself for the energy, for the power that it is, and that it gets to live that life for themselves, through I don't know how else to say this except that my epic dream, an epic dream. The epic dream is that the book fair will look like the book festival of the diaspora, so that when you come to Harlem, the streets, the main streets, 125th Street is closed and the flags of nations are flying, and books and authors from the diaspora world will come to share their points of view, their stories. They will come to celebrate our contribution to humanity, the deepness and the richness of it. That is my epic dream. When that happens, I will say that the book fair has fulfilled itself.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. So beautiful. So, Max Rodriguez, who are you?
Who am I? Well, I will tell you this. So in my practice, from my practice, I will tell you that I am 100% spirit and I am 100% person, physical, mortal, and that I move as well as I move to know them both and to move comfortably in both. That's who I am. I happen to think that's who we all are, and that if we choose, if we simply ask, that path will be open to us. There has to exist another way other than this world of polarity in which we live, either or, in and out, up and down, the extremes of things, which leaves room for, I would say, no other possibilities, but more importantly, leaves no room for possibility. You see, and in leaving no room for possibility, we are kept on a specific and intended track that does not serve us as humanity. So there.
Yeah. I get it. Look at you. I get it, Max. So awesome. Thank you.
So that's the work. We get to play in that space, and what we do, hopefully reflects that conversation, that intention. Yeah.
I get that.
I know you do
that. So here we are at question 6.
That was great.
Right? I'm like, wait. Is there anything that I should have asked you that you wanted me to ask you that I didn't? In other words, what did I miss?
I don't know that you missed anything. I think we've kind of touched on everything. We are, I do believe that we are the embodiment of the intention of God for itself, in its expression of itself, So I think that, who I am, who I know us to be, why I do the Harlem Book Fair, it's all because we are, wonderfully made, powerfully made, and we always have access to that. That's something that circumstance or situation can never take away. We are always sort of acknowledged for our resilience as a culture, as a community, how we have come through so much, making way out of no way. right? But what's even the source of that is what we are given, is our humanity, is frankly is our dignity, you know, and that dignity, calls to me. I see it all the time whenever I look at any of us, any of us specifically, but honestly, all of us. I do believe, here's what something that you haven't asked me. How do I feel about culture? You know, culture is important to us, and we're always asked to embrace culture, and we should. But more than that, I think that we should both work to embrace culture and also transcend culture, right? Because culture is a definer, and it's also a marker for us, and that's fine. I don't mean marker in any adverse way. I mean it's our starting point. I believe that I look the way I do because it is from here that I contribute to humanity. This is my space from which I contribute, but at the same time, I'm contributing to humanity. So I must work to embrace my culture, at the same time transcend my culture, so that I can find my way in through and express myself into the culture of our humanity, of our world humanity. So that's who we are. And that's why the book fair will be a book fair of the diaspora, because it is all voices, all visions, one breath, one voice. And that's what I hope, that's why I always practice to be. So what am I? I'm a man in progress.
Indeed, indeed. And that's wonderful. I so appreciate your presence. Having known you for so long, and I'm so grateful that I've gotten to witness and be a part of the Harlem Book Fair, and walking up and down 125th Street and seeing all of these authors and vendors and just love in the air, and then going into the Schomburg and, talking to the people, and just seeing people crave culture and crave knowledge and crave community was so beautiful. And I'm so grateful that you have just always been, a friend, and you were the person that said to me, Valerie, your community extends beyond just your small geographic area. Think beyond Philadelphia. Your community extends beyond that. I'll never forget you saying that. You helped to expand my world. And so I'm so grateful for you. And I honor you, my king. I pray that your epic dream absolutely does come true sooner rather than later. And I'm so grateful that I got a chance to talk to you today, Max.
As am I, Val. You mentioned the Schomburg, and I remember, in fact, just the other day, I saw the videotape where you were the moderator for a panel that was televised on C-SPAN. So, and when you introduced yourself, you said, "Hi, I'm Val Gay, the executive director at the time of Art Sanctuary," and you were about to keep going, but then the crowd reacted to that. You said, "Oh, thank you." Just a recognition. So in that space where, we are part of an extended community, when you looked up and acknowledged the acknowledgement that you received when you said you were the executive director, it's an example that we don't know, everything, all of the energy that sort of follows us, leads us, that we leave behind, the impact that our work and our words have on others.
Yeah.
So, I always say to people, remember that remember that and be that knowing, and, I think the way we speak will determines how life wraps itself around us.
Oh, I believe that with every fiber of my being. Every fiber of my being. The Bible talks about the the power of life and death lies in the tongue, and that, you know, and I've just seen it. I've experienced it. You know, just how we speak to each other. My mother, when I was a child, and when she was chastising my siblings and me, she used to sometimes tell us Bible verses. And so some things are just in me now, because I would get yelled at a lot. Sometimes, like,
You know a lot of Bible, huh?
we had a period, we're all lined up on the couch, and so we all know a lot of Bible verses. Let me just put it that way.
Chapter and verse, Val.
And so there is a verse that says, a soft answer turns away wrath, but grievous words stirs up anger. And I remember being really small and not really knowing what wrath meant or what grievous meant. And I remember looking it up and going, oh, so if I answer someone differently, can I turn away someone who maybe is angry? Or can I shift the energy by my words? I remember being a child and thinking that, and my mother saying it to us a lot. And she used to say that when we were arguing with each other. But, and, you know, we used to experiment on each other. It's like, you know, and the world changes. I mean, I just believe it so strongly, because the other thing is, I have a friend who says, you know, I'm not a mind reader. I don't know why someone did something. I know that an event occurred. I don't know why. And so if I'm willing to give someone the benefit of the doubt, you often find out other things. And sometimes I'm so grateful I didn't pop off, for example, when something comes. And sometimes just having space, right? And changing the language. So instead of thinking, what's wrong with you? I'm like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And sometimes just saying, are you okay? Can give just enough pause, you know, for someone to be like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to yell at you. And then you can go on with your life, you know? And so the language, I agree with you, that we speak, that the words that we weave change the atmosphere around us. I believe that so wholeheartedly.
And you know, like, easy to do is easy to say, right? So
Yeah.
so this takes practice, right? It practice, but we're not called to be perfect, right? We're just called to practice.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And so here we go. And that's the game, you know, but that really is the game, you know, to stay in the practice of knowing oneself, you know, knowing oneself, knowing that in spite of what we've heard, we can respond from our center rather than be reactive, you know. And that's a small practice that we can take. Some days we'll do well, some days we won't do as well, but, you know, it all brings us to our sense, all that practice brings us to our sense of humanity, beyond maleness, beyond femaleness, to our sense of humanity. Yeah.
Agreed. What a beautiful way to end this conversation. As you well know, I could keep going and on and on and on, but I won't.
Yeah. Well, that was a nice segue out. So that was well done. That was well done, Val.
Thank you. And I want you to stay right there, because I want to thank you, but I want to thank the audience for joining us. And I really hope that you enjoyed this conversation as much as I have. And if there's a positive and successful Black man in your life you want to see highlighted in this forum, please click the link below or in my bio, fill out the nomination form, and I'll take it from there. I'm so grateful that well over 100 amazing Black men have answered these same 6 questions, and we want more. They may not be the founder of the Harlem Book Festival or Fair. Well, of course not, because we only got one of those. But for someone as accomplished as Matt, I don't really care what someone does for a living, say for 2 caveats. 1, it's legal. 2, it's positive. Everything else is, I really don't care, because that's what doesn't really matter. What really matters is the impact that a brother has on the community around them, starting with the nuclear family and to the wider community. That is what counts in my book as success. And so I hope that you will join us next week for yet another amazing king. And in the meantime, please remember to spread love and have a great day. Thank you so much. And Max, thank you. That was awesome.
Thank you.